Okay, for number 7, this problem requires us to do a combination of different things that we've learned already in class. First thing, you're going to be using your different rules for exponents. Then you're going to be using your rules for I, and you're going to combine all of that stuff together to get your answer. So for number 7, you've got I to the ninth raised to the 30th power divided by I to the 20th times I to the 10th times I to the 40th. So first thing, you're going to take your power to a power in the numerator. So I to the 9 raised to the 30, you're going to multiply those. So that'll be I to the 270. Divided by, now in the denominator, you're multiplying these. And the rule is, if you are multiplying variables, then you'll keep the base and you're going to add your exponent. So that's going to be I to the 70. Now you got division. You got I to the 270 divided by I to the 70. The rule for division is you're going to keep the base and subtract your exponents. So this is I to the 270 minus 70. Now 270 minus 70 is 200. So I to the 200th power. Now at this point, you have to think back when we started talking about the rules for I. Now remember we said I is going to cycle around after every 4 numbers. So I told you that when you have I to the 200, nobody's going to work that all the way out. So what you do is you take your exponent and you divide it by 4. So 200 divided by 4 is 50. So 4 goes into 200 50 times and it leaves a remainder of 0. Well, that means I to the 200 is equivalent to I to the 0 power. And remember, anything to the 0 power is equal to 1. So your answer for number 7 is 1. Now, for number 8, this one, you're going to need to use that rule where you remember the cycle of I to rewrite each of these into something that they're equivalent to. So let's start with the first part, I to the 24th. Okay, for number 8, again, we are going to find equivalent values for each of the terms, and then we're going to simplify at the end. So to start off, you have I to the 24th power. You want to start by saying, how many times does 4 divide into 24? Well, it goes 6 whole times, but it leaves a remainder of 0. So I to the 24th is equivalent to I to the 0 power. Plus, how many times does 4 go into 45? Well, it goes 11 times and it leaves a remainder of 1. So I to the 45th is equivalent to I to the first power. Minus, how many times does 4 go into this 19? Well, 4 goes into 19 4 times. That would be 16, and that would leave a remainder of 3. So I to the 19th power is equivalent to I to the third power. Plus, you ask again, how many times does 4 go into 34? Well, 4 goes into 34 8 times. That's going to leave a remainder of 2. So I to the second. Now, each of these can be rewritten. I to the 0 power is equal to 1. Because remember, anything to the 0 power is 1. Plus, I to the first power is just I. Minus, I to the third power, which we know is negative I. Plus, I squared, which you should know is negative 1. Now, if I combine my like terms, I've got 1 and negative 1. Those are going to cancel out. And then for the i's, I have I minus negative I, which is the same as I plus I. Remember, these two become plus. So I plus I is 2I. And that's your answer for number 8. All right, number 9. This problem looks much more complicated than it actually is. So what you want to do is start with simplifying each group of parentheses separately. So I have my negative sign here. Now the square root of 49 is 7 plus the square root of negative 1 is I. If you don't remember it, look back at the first packet that we did and you'll see it in there. Plus, in the second group, you have the square root of 16, which you know is 4, minus The square root of negative 16 is 4i. Plus, the square root of 25 is 5. The square root of negative 4 is 2i. Now that I've written these out, I have 3 different complex numbers. So you're going to now combine your like terms. So I'm going to combine my real parts, and then I'm going to combine my imaginary parts. So negative 7 plus 4 is negative 3, and negative 3 plus 5 is a positive 2. Now for the imaginary, you have 1i. Remember, there's an understood 1 in front of this i. So 1i minus 4i is negative 3i, and negative 3i plus 2i is a negative 1i. And that's your answer. Number 10. Now, this is a subtraction problem. I want you all to be careful here because on your first quiz, you forgot all about the signs and just started wanting to multiply everything. Watch what they give you. This is a subtraction problem because they got a minus sign in between the two complex numbers. So when that happens, you rewrite the first complex number, and then you distribute that minus sign for the next one. So when I distribute here, this negative applied to this negative 8 makes it a plus 8. This negative times this positive 3i makes it a negative 3i. Now you're going to combine like terms. 10 plus 8 is 18. Negative 4i minus 3i is a negative 7i. And that is your answer. All right, let's go over here to number 11. Now, what I do not want you to do, and I'm going to be mad if I see it, you are not going to apply this exponent to everything here. This is a single complex number, 3 minus 4i. You're going to multiply it times itself 3 times. That's what that cube means up there. You're multiplying it by itself 3 times. If you remember when we did this before, I told you you're going to multiply 2 things at a time. So I'm going to rewrite this as 3 minus 4i times 3 minus 4i times another 3 minus 4i. Now, I know I have 3 of them written out, but I'm only going to do 2 at a time. So don't try to do 3 things at once and then get all confused. So let's do the first 2. So for the first 2, we're going to have 3 times 3. That equals 9. Then I have 3 times negative 4i. That's a negative 12i. Negative 4i times 3 is another negative 12i. And negative 4i times negative 4i is a positive 16i squared. And all of that is going to be multiplied by 3 minus 4i. Now, I need to simplify all of the first part that I was multiplying by combining my like terms. So that's going to be 9 minus 24i. And don't forget, this 16i squared is going to become a negative 16. I squared is negative 1, so negative 1 times 16 is a minus 16. That will be multiplied by 3 minus 4i once I finish combining like terms here. So 9 minus 16 becomes a negative 7 minus 24i. Now that negative 7 minus 24i is going to be multiplied by 3 minus 4i. And again, you're going to use FOIL. When I do FOIL this time, negative 7 times 3 is a negative 21. Negative 7 times negative 4i is a positive 28i. Negative 4i times 3 is a negative 72i. And then negative 24i times a negative 4i is a positive 96i squared. Now I need to combine my like terms. When I combine these like terms, I'll have negative 21. Uh-oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to put my I up here. There. Don't forget your I. I forgot mine, but don't forget yours. Okay, so this will become negative 21 minus 44i, and then the 96 times I squared is going to be a negative 96. So now I have negative 21 minus 96, those are like terms. So I add them, negative 117 minus 44i. And that's the answer. Number 12 is another multiplication problem. Again, you're just going to use FOIL. So to use FOIL, I have 6 times 4, that's 24. 6 times negative 5i becomes minus 30i. Then I have I times 4 is a plus 4i. And I times negative 5i is a negative 5i squared. Combine like terms, 24 minus 26i, and then this is going to become plus 5. Because remember, I squared is negative 1 times negative 5 makes a plus 5. So 24 plus 5 is 29 minus 2i. Oh my God. Y'all, you know I need to go home. I apologize. That shouldn't be a 2. Let me go back. Up here in this step, 24 minus 30i negative 30i plus 4i is a negative 26i, then plus 5. Now when I combine like terms, that's 29 minus 26i. I apologize. It's late. It's already after almost 4 o'clock and I'm tired. But anyway, okay. Okay, for number 13, this is division with I. So you have 4i divided by 10 plus 2i. The thing to remember here is that when you are trying to do division with the complex number, you have to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate of your original denominator. So my conjugate is going to be 10 minus 2i. So I'm going to have to multiply the numerator and the denominator by 10 minus 2i. So on the top, I'm going to distribute. 4i times 10 is a 40i. And 4i times negative 2i is a negative 8i squared. For my denominator, I'm going to do the shortcut. If you remember, I told you a little shortcut. The shortcut is you're going to take whatever number you have here and you're going to square it. That's 100. Take whatever the coefficient is here and square that. That's a 4. And then add them together. That's 104. That's the shortcut for your denominator. Now, at this point, you're going to simply divide this up. I'm sorry, not divide it. You're going to take this I squared and substitute negative 1. So you have 40i, and then 8 times negative 1 is going to become a plus, negative 8 times negative 1 becomes plus 8, and all of that is over 104. Now, at this point, we're going to go ahead and break it up. Remember, you want your real part first, and then you want your imaginary part. So you'll have 8 divided by 104 plus 40 divided by 104i. Now, if you can reduce the fraction, you need to reduce it. I happen to know that 8 will go into both of these numbers. So 8 goes into itself once. 8 goes into 104 13 times. Over here, 8 also goes into 40, so it goes into 45 times. 8 goes into 104 13 times, and then you have your I. So here's your answer. All right, number 14 is going to work out same way. You've got negative 1 plus 5i divided by 1 minus 4i. Again, you have to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate of your denominator. So 1 plus 4i is going to be multiplied in the numerator and denominator. So in the numerator, you're going to use FOIL. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 times 4i is plus 20i. I apologize. That's a minus 20i. I told y'all I need to go home. Let me start over. All right, again. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 times 4i is a negative 4i. 5i times 1 is plus 5i. And 5i times 4i is a plus 20i squared. And again, let's do the shortcut for the denominator. You take this number and square it, that's going to be a 1. Take this number and square it, that's going to be a 16. And then you add them together, that's 17. Now that you've got that, you're going to combine like terms in your numerator. So you have negative 1 plus I, and then the 20i squared is going to become minus 20, all over 17. So, combining like terms again, negative 1 minus 20 is a negative 21 plus I over 17. Now you can break this up. You have negative 21 over 17 plus 1 over 17i. And the reason we're able to put this 1 here is because remember there's an understood 1 in front of that I.